But immediately after a month, he's like, hey, I'm starting to get my morning erections again. Hey everybody, it's Dr. Sam Robbins. Today I'm going to talk about how to work out less and gain more muscle. And this is someone that I was giving some consultation to earlier this year, so it just kind of came up because I've noticed a bunch of guys asking me about it. And this individual, after everything was said and done, ended up losing 5 pounds of fat and gaining probably about 5 pounds of muscle, maybe 5 or 6. This is after 2 years of nothing. So, you know, it was a good exchange, all natural. So I'll tell you exactly what happened. He's contacting me and telling me I'm trying to gain muscle. I'm doing everything and nothing works. I'm working out harder, right? Every workout, I'm working out harder and harder and harder. I'm pushing more. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm doing both heavy weights and I'm doing also high repetition. So I'm hitting all the fast twitch and slow twitch muscles, blah, 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 blah. I'm eating more, and I got to tell you, Dr. Sam, it's like no matter what I do, I'm not gaining any more muscle. I'm getting a little bit stronger, but then now I'm noticing I'm actually getting weaker and I'm getting fatter. Because he's like, I thought eating more would allow me to gain more muscle. So you can't force muscle growth. So he proceeds to tell me all this stuff. I tell him, how do you feel with the workouts? It's like, I'm not motivated. I'm actually getting weaker and I'm getting fatter. And it's like, I don't even feel like going to the gym. I'm not getting good pumps anymore. On and on. I asked him how his sleep was, and he says his sleep is horrible. He feels like, he's tossing and turning. His blood pressure is higher. His heart rate is higher. All these things. So, and I ask him, how's your sex drive? And he says, it's not really there. And he's like, I don't know if it's me or my hormones or life or my girlfriend or work. He doesn't know, right? And I tell him, I'll tell you what, man. Personally, I think you're overtraining. Now, I know people use that word. It's going on, but you can't overtrain. Growing up in the 80s or whatever, 90s, they said you can't overtrain. You're only under eating and under resting. Okay. So if I ate as much food as I can, and if I slept 20 hours a day, I'd be huge. No, it doesn't work like that. And it's wrong. And of course I did the same thing. This guy's in his mid-20s. So that's why I felt for him, because I dealt with the same crap growing up. And so I said, hey, you're probably overtrained. And again, as I was saying earlier, a lot of people think you can't overtrain, or now they don't call it overtraining. They call it overreaching, or whatever the hell you want to call it. You're doing more than your body can recover from. That's the bottom line. Okay. So one thing steroids does, as well as when you're younger and you don't have a lot of stresses in life and so on and so forth, your body recovers quicker and faster. Okay, that's what steroids can do. But even that has its limits. Okay, I remember Dorian Yates came along and he just started working out less and he grew. And this is exactly what happened to me. One day I said, screw it. I was reading all these different things, and whatever I did wasn't working. Back in the 80s, we were hitting a muscle group twice a week, 10 to 12 sets per muscle group twice a week. So I came out to at least 20 sets, 3 on, 1 off, and we were doing a lot. And I figured that's what everybody does. That's what you got to do. The more you hit the muscle, or the harder you train, and everything used to go to failure, and you get it. Anyhow, I'm rambling on about this point. And no matter what you're going to learn is, do not take advice from people who have great genetics and or look awesome all the time and are taking steroids, or they pretend to not be taking steroids and they look awesome, or they claim to only be on TRT and at 140 milligrams, and yet they look phenomenal. Okay, don't listen to these people. Again, they either have awesome genetics, so you don't listen to them, or they're lying to you. So again, you don't listen to them. Because anyone who's got awesome genetics and or is taking steroids, they're not listening. They do whatever the hell I want. And I've been working out at Gold's Gym in Venice for almost 20 years. I've dealt with a lot of pros. I deal with a lot of trainers. I'm just naturally curious, and I've been around. I even worked at Weider growing up, because I lived in Woodland Hills, and that's where Weider headquarters was. Joe Weider and Muscle and Fitness, and worked with EAS and Muscle Media 2000 and Bill Phillips and all these guys. I've been there, done that, and most people are all lying to you. So here's what I suggested to make a long story short. I told the guy, take 1 week off from the gym. Of course, he panicked. I said, fine. I said, just take 3 days off from the gym, then cut all your sets in half for the next month, and then let's talk. And over the next month, he's like, oh, I feel so much better. I'm actually happier. I'm laughing more, because his neurotransmitters, his dopamine, his receptors were just burnt out, man. He had no drive, no sex drive, no motivation, no drive to go to the gym. He wasn't contracting the muscles as well. He wasn't pumping. You know, it's hormonal. Okay, his cortisol levels were sky high. I didn't have him do any blood tests. I'm not going to tell you. But immediately after a month, he's like, hey, I'm starting to get my morning erections again. And I told him to start taking a bunch of supplements. For example, I gave him my Alpha Viral in the morning. My product links below this. I told him to take stress and cortisol relief after the workout and before bed, again, on the links underneath that. I told him to take deep sleep formula so he gets a deeper sleep and recovers. I told him to take a lot more vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams, 2, 3, 4 times a day. L-Glycine after the workouts and before bed. Taurine before sleep, and tyrosine in the morning. Again, all to manage his GABA receptors, dopamine receptors, sensitivity, neurotransmitters, all these things. Testosterone improved, cortisol improved, everything's better. After, long story short, I said, stop eating so much food. He's like, I'm gonna lose weight. So what happened is he started to slowly lose fat, and the body composition improved. He didn't gain weight, but he started losing fat. He's like, wait, I'm the same weight, but I look leaner. I said, yeah, you're starting to lose fat and gain muscle because your hormones are better. He's like, yeah, I'm starting to get, stronger at the gym. I just said, fine, work out hard for like, one week, 2 weeks, and 3 weeks, right? Just keep working out harder, and then take a week off and decompress or pull back, right? Do what's called an active rest and just cut everything in half. And this will almost prevent you from overtraining, because the thing is, this guy's really motivated. Some people are lazy bums, so they need to keep going harder and harder because they're too lazy. But a lot of us, especially when we're younger, we're driven. We keep wanting to get more and more and do more and more. And you have to pull back, okay? You have to set the body up for growth. Even like a baby. When the baby starts to eat more and sleep more, all of a sudden you see it grow like in front of your eyes, because the body has to prep for growth. That means it has to set up everything for all the muscles and the neural pathways and the blood vessels and so forth to get ready for muscle growth. So you're not going to grow, you're going to be like this, and then all of a sudden you're going to gain some muscle. So keep that in mind. The whole point with all this is you need to improve your hormones, and you can't force muscle growth. I used to do it. I used to go harder and harder every workout. It doesn't work, dude. You can't force muscle growth. You have to go by how you feel, and this takes time. Sometimes you work out harder. Sometimes you work out less. Sometimes you say, you know what, I'm not going to push and grind and everything. So just do a little bit more volume and give your neurotransmitters, your nervous system, a little bit more time to recuperate. Go by how you feel. If you don't feel good, and you don't feel motivated, if your sex drive is down, your heart rate is up, your blood pressure is up, you're not sleeping well, you're always tired and fatigued, these are signs that you're not recovering. Whether it's because of your workouts, or because of life, or because of stress, emotional, physical, whatever it is, you're not made. By the way, some people can work out 5-6 days a week. Some people can, like me, I can only work out like maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Some people can only work out 3 days a week. Some people would prefer working out 3 days a week for an hour and a half. And some people like me would rather work out 5 days a week, but like only for 45 minutes. It's just like eating. Some people like me, I prefer eating 5-6 times a day because I don't have a big appetite. And some people would rather just eat 2 or 3 huge meals and they feel totally fine. you have to go with how your body likes so you can continue doing this month after month, year after year. The game is always a marathon, okay? It's never a sprint. It's long-term. That's why I want you to also stay healthy, both mentally and physically, and not get injured and so on and so forth. So I hope this all makes sense. You have to evaluate. Always going harder doesn't work. Always doing more and more volume doesn't work. You have to rest your body. Sometimes you might need 2 or 3 days of rest. And some days you're just good. There's days when I've worked out maybe 4 days in a row and I still feel fine. And then I'll take 2 days off. And other days I need a day off every other day because sometimes life gets in the way. So listen to your body, and this takes time. The younger you are, the harder it is. But that's why I also tell people to write down in a journal how they're feeling and their results. If you're not feeling good for a few days and weeks, if you're getting weaker and you're not pumping up, you're not this, your appetite's gone, all those negative things, time for you to write it down, evaluate, and say, I need to pull back. There's nothing wrong with taking time off from the gym, all right? You regroup, you come back stronger, better pumps, better motivation. You can work out harder, okay? So it's a balance between intensity and volume. And you have to see which one works for you. You cannot do both. You can't do high intensity and high volume. So there you have it. Also, don't do low intensity and low volume either and be a lazy bum. So there you have it. I hope this helps. Take a look below underneath this video in the detail section for all the information I've mentioned, and make sure you're subscribed and you hit that bell icon so you'll be notified for future similar videos about training. And also let me know what topics you want me to cover in the future. Again, this is all for you guys. As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Wishing you a very happy and healthy day. And I'm going to go on and get my groove on. Bye.